For those of you that don't know me, I'm Mike. I met Dan 15 years ago at North Stratford College where I worked as an apprentice engineer, and Dan was, as John said, a lazy bastard. I started working there a few months before Dan, who all of a sudden just seemed to appear from nowhere and take over our engineer's brew room and snook a table. What I didn't know was at the time that Dan worked there the year before for the summer, and he already knew anyone. Anyway, I thought I'd try to get a bit of info on this new lad who already seems to know everyone. So late that day, I asked my boss, "Who's this new guy? He seems like a bit of a dick." To which Colin, Dan's dad, he's a new IT guy, just left me guessing. Obviously, late that week, I found out that Dan was Cole's son, so I had to sort of pretend to like him. Now, at this point, I'd like to take a bit of credit for us all being here today, because when I first met Dan, he used to smoke 46 a day. And thanks to my encouragement and constant moaning, he quit. So if it wasn't for me, he probably well be dead. I don't think we're ever going out with him, but... I worked at the college for 7 years with Dan, and when I say worked, I use the term very loosely. And that's not just Dan, that's me as well. Cole was our boss, and he used to walk around jangling his keys behind his back, like a prison guard. He used to sky from the engineering workshop and spend a lot of time up in the computer rooms with Dan, playing games and messing about the internet and stuff. But we'd always have someone listening out for the keys. You could hear them coming from a mile away. As soon as we heard the keys, we'd all pick it back down to the workshop, just leaving Dan sat there looking innocent. To be fair, most of the time he covered for us. Dan had the easiest job, as John said, at the college. He basically used to go around pressing Control, Alt, Delete. And if that didn't work, he'd just switch off and again. To give him some credit though, he must have done well out of the college because he's got a good job now at Swindon Insurance doing what's it? Something to do with computers. I don't think he's Laura knows what he does. Actually, I'm not friends. Whilst still working at the college, Dan and I got ourselves a part-time job at Old Trafford on match days, which I think he would agree was by far our best job today. We basically had to get there an hour before kick-off, serve some posh people food and drinks, and go and find ourselves a seat in the stand and watch the full game. We got all the food and drink we could eat, and we got paid for it. And the best bit was, the rest of the staff there were about 90% female. I remember our nights out in those early years. We were about 17 and 18. Even though Dan started puberty at about age 7, I looked a lot younger than my age, as I do now. So the bouncers would always ask us for ID, to which Dan's response was, "I've got a beard." He didn't need ID, he had a beard. Needless to say, we didn't get him most of the time. Now, I think we'd all have to agree that Dan's a quite good-looking bloke, but one night, after partying the night away in Regals, we were eating our kebabs outside Sergeant Pepper's, and for some reason, a lad took a dislike to Dan's face. Without warning or reason, he ran across the ETA towards Dan and caught him with a right up to the jaw. I instinctively jumped to Dan's rescue, after making sure the kebab was out of harm's way. And so began the weekly Sergeant Pepper brawl. Within minutes, the police were there, and the next thing I knew, I was waking up at 8 AM in a cell in Bootle Street. Incidentally, I think this happened to be around about the same time Dan was coming to from his knockout walk. I also think this is around about the same time he took up karate. He still never beat me on a punching machine though. In fact, the only person ever to beat me on a punching machine is 6-inch Lynch over there.
Yay!
7 from base to anyway, Dan being the top mate he is, and all it's been mostly his fault, he came and picked me up from Beale Street, he came with me when I had my day in court, and he even went to ask me on the fine. Over the years we've had some great lads holidays together as well, and I'm going to give a special mention to Dave, 18 of 30's rep. He was with us on every one of them. Never seems to like us though. We've had some bargains over the years as well, including a week soft catering cost for 86 quid each. It was leaving the day after we booked it. We had to find 6 people in an hour to get it, but because we had a great boss, we were there. They've not all been the best though. Me, Dan and Erwin one year had to share what can only be described as a prison cell full of mosquitoes. It was about 120 degrees and a single 6-inch high window over the door. What do you want for 99 quid? One of the downsides of our bargain £99 18 or 30 holidays was the flight times. It was normally a 3 AM flight home, and we were usually kicked out of the hotel at 11 AM the day before. Dan, being such a friendly guy, though, always seemed to find us somewhere to get a shower before we had to leave for the airport. As you probably all know, Dan met Laura on one of our lads' holidays in Falraca 9 years ago. And I know John's mentioned about Dan being lazy and so have I, but those days we look around the pool, we put a proper shift in. We clocked in at 10 o'clock in the morning of our first day. We didn't see him again until we were sorting the shower out for the flight home. Now Dan's always been a bit of a trendsetter. I think it's through spending too much time with us when they were kids. He's the first person I knew to get a mobile phone, and I said I'd never need one. He was the first person I saw on a night out wearing a scarf, and I'll never take mine off. He turned up in a beef for a couple of years ago wearing espadrilles. He also said he looked a twat. I've got to reverse. And the other week on his stag do, when he fell asleep in a bar and dumped the tea bag on his head. I would like to comment on whether it suited him or not, but Laura was there and she was kind enough to take a photo of it, so if anyone wants to have a look, come and see me later. Even though I tried to delete it last night. Whilst we're on the subject, I have a few more revelations I'm sure you'd all like to hear about Dan. He's the only adult I know, or a kid for that matter, who eats his own crows. He also has a bladder of a 93-year-old woman. Once he's had his damn buster, that's it. You can't hold a piss in for more than 3 minutes. That is most important now, so I'm going to wrap it up. The only thing left to mention is the stag do. Now, I can't say a lot about the stag do because what happens in Marbs stays in Marbs, apart from Kerrins. If you ever come across an angry bull, throw down a red towel and you'll be alright. Ole! Oh, hang on. I probably dropped it here, but I've got your wedding certificate here that I've got to present to you. So. It's been an emotional day, I think you all agree, even the cake's in tears. About 80 witnesses of you being given to that to use when you lose it later. But yeah, if you'd like to all stand and we'll have a toast to Dan and Laura.